hello, and welcome to another edition of Armor On. I'm Jerry Brown, here with the Reverend William ACOSTA.
Oh,
Good to see you.
good to see you too.
All right. So, I know there at Bridge House, Mr. William, you do advocacy
hmm
news update for there, and that basically is housing issues, anything to do with our members. We advocate up in Hartford to get funding, grants, whatever you need, housing, so forth and so on. Different bills passed by our legislators. So I know you're big there. So I said to myself, well, maybe we'd do a little spiritual advocacy. Did I say that right? It's a tongue twister. Spiritual advocacy.
There you go.
Because we need that, because there's some people out there who people take advantage of spiritually. They see that, they pounce on them. It's like a crouching lion, ready to pounce on somebody. And I found a reading from Proverbs, if you want to read that for us. It's Proverbs 31, 8 and 9.
Proverbs 31, 8 and 9. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and needy.
Yes, so true. So true. That a lot of times we look at our government, and people say, well, the rich and the powerful and the people, educated people, we feel like they're taking advantage of the people that are not as educated, not as sharp, or have some disabilities, and we know that at where we work at Bridge House. But I think the spiritual side is very important too. There's physical, mental, and spiritual. There's the three. I remember working in AA circles. It was a mental, spiritual, physical disability. It was a disease. So the devil sees that. The devil knows and goes after people that maybe are educated, and they get into their mind and they take advantage of people that are less, I guess, to take care of themselves. So it's our job as Christians that we watch out for this, and that's why I felt that we can maybe change the way some people are treated by educating them to stand up for themselves spiritually, because spiritually that's where I think the devil goes at it. He uses all different, he's pretty conniving.
Yeah,
He'll
no
go at
kidding.
it different ways, right?
Yeah.
And we at Bridge House, we look at that physicalness. Where are you spending the night? Are you out on the street? Now, I saw one gentleman. I was driving into work. He was still in his, I guess, pajamas and his overcoat or his bathrobe, and he's walking the street. I'm going in for 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm driving in, and we're involved at Bridge House, and we've seen an uptick, right, in people.
Yeah. Yes.
We take advantage of they take advantage of people. They do. They really do. They do take advantage of people, and this is what we have to kind of guard against, or whatever. People, if we can get the homeless a place to live, but a lot of times yes, we can physically get them a place to live. We can stop and give them a couple of dollars to get a meal or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's that third piece, the spiritual side, that we have to advocate for our neighbors, right?
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
and how can we do that especially in your church life, drawing people in with different ways to get them into church or a Bible study or something to increase their knowledge of Jesus Christ in their life. And I find that's our responsibility too. And like that gentleman there walking along, I just felt like rolling down the window. You don't roll anymore. You push the button and it goes down. But bringing the window down and going, Wednesday open house, hey, come on down, like that. But we could do that. We're doing that side. But how would we do our spiritual side? How would you approach that, William? Educating people on the spiritual piece of physical, mental, and physical, spiritual. How would you approach that?
Well, that's a very, very good question. Community outreach is critical. The church where I serve is very much located in the Hollow section of Bridgeport, and so there's a lot of poverty, a lot of lost people. There's several churches right in the immediate area as well. We do community events, community health events, community dinners, food pantry. At Thanksgiving time, have a huge dinner for everyone in the community. That is absolutely free of charge, and people can come. And so it is in that context that we kind of, sort of gently introduce them to what the church is about. The pastor's always there, and so they can see who the pastor is, who the the clergy and the deacons are there. And
right.
So always mingling with the crowd. We do it too. And so, that's sort of one way of sort of getting them in.
Right.
Also sometimes taking innovative steps too. I remember when the AIDS epidemic first started back in the late 80s. And our church was a significant catalyst in having an AIDS ministry. It's one of the first churches in the area. And there was one church in New Haven that we partnered with that were bringing in these people who had been diagnosed with HIV/AIDS. And some of them are still there to this day. And that was well over 35 years ago.
Right.
And, letting them know that they were not outcasts, they were not to be stigmatized. And, some of them are still there to this day. I'm so encouraged to see that they're still there. They have a men's fellowship and a women's fellowship also, which is open to the community at large. And I've seen people just walk off the street and come in because they're interested, because they see it. And also has a fairly large parking lot. So they have a block party a couple times a year too. And that draws people in,
Right.
And, whatever their needs are, someone is there to speak to them.
Right.
So there's someone there to speak to them, to pray with them, because people do get curious. They come off the street and say, "Well, what is your church about? What do you believe in? I want a part of this."
Right.
Just
Yeah, it's
draw
kind of
them right in.
it's kind of I know our where I'm my parish priest, he'll have a musical concert to attract people to the church. We'll do Bible studies. There's Bible studies. There's also different events. I think it's very important at young. It's young, and make them feel the young, because I grew up and I went to Catholic school. I went to school. My dad, my parents would send us because they wanted us an education based in Jesus Christ. And I remember coming home from like third or fourth day from school and sitting out in the back porch. And I had a friend, Paul, I grew up with, and he went to Catholic school. He went to St. Ambrose, I think, in Bridgeport. And we would sit out there. My mother would hear us talking, and Paul would go, "Hey, did you hear about that guy Jesus?" And I said, yeah, you know. So I think getting young, and I think what happens too is, you know, in any kind of life, and people see that, bullies do. I was bullied in school. I mean, I'll be honest, I was bullied because they see you're different.
Yeah.
You're maybe a little timid, a little bit shy, and those people, they zero in on you.
Yeah.
They really do.
It happened to me too.
Yep, and they zero in because they're going in, and that's why we have to give people that maybe are shy, maybe feel that way, like they don't fit in, that tool that, you know, we're try to give them the spiritual tool that they could overcome that. I went to church when I was young, from, I guess, as far as I remember. My dad used to carry me into church, you know, and carry me out, you know, before the mass got over, because I usually would get sick. I don't know, maybe the Holy Ghost took me over or something. I don't know, but it was always that. I think that sticks in my mind. My dad's still alive, God bless him, and him carrying me in and out, or taking me home when I got sick and putting me. Those things, those little things, it's still in my mind, you know, and that bringing me into church and the mass, and being a part of it, those little things. I mean, we could do that for our spiritual brothers and sisters. If you could see that maybe they are shy, maybe they don't know that you might have a Bible study. They you know, they're not well versed in a lot of what goes on in your church or your neighborhood. It's getting them involved. I've asked people, you know, and made sure that they were aware that this is what I do, and this is what I believe, but I don't stand there and force it to them. I just let them know, and hope that, and pray for them that it's like my friend that couldn't get AA. He was still drinking and drugging, and I told him, I says, you know, just when you're ready, and you know where to find me. You know, I mentioned that before, and he showed up one day. He was ready, I guess, maybe because AA is a spiritual based. It's part of that in their steps. They give their life over to God for recovery, and that's what I think a lot of people they're out there. The world is so crazy that and you're just blind. You're I don't know if it's stiff-necked people or if it's just hard-headed, or they just don't know. They're like I said, they just need to be people. Some people need more caring and more prodding and more carrying them to Jesus, I think, and that's why I think God puts us here to be that somebody that can lift the heavy load. He knows what he's doing. He knows who his people are, and I think the key is that we have to see that in ourselves. And once you see that in yourself, and that God has given you a purpose, heavy lift, you go out of your way to make sure those people, like in here, that speechless or they're unrighteously or they're abused in some way, that we as Christians make sure that they get the spiritual nourishment as well as the food and the clothing. Because at St. Vincent's, I remember I worked at the behavioral health, and we used to have a fair. And, I mean, the clothes would come from the sneakers and you name it. And they fill up a whole room with all, and then they would have it at the school down off on the east side there. Is that the east side? Yeah. Battaglia School, I think.
Oh,
Greece,
yeah. That's,
and they would
on
bring
west
all
side.
make sure you come in and you had, if you needed your feet washed or your hands massage, see the physician, whatever, so that we were helping their physicalness. And then if they needed a pair of shoes or sneaker or something to wear, they would get that. And I know it was done by St. Vincent's, so it was Catholic Charities or whatever. They know who was involved in it, but hoping that people would see that our purpose was physical, mental, and spiritual tied in, because once a person comes in and you come on in, have a sandwich, have this. You sit and talk to them,
Yeah.
take their vital signs or whatever, make sure things are good.
Yeah.
That love,
Yeah.
they see that love, and that's what Jesus has told us to do. And like I said, they've taken. We had grant money down. Remember, we had grant money down in Bridge House. We had staff members. We had grant money, and it was called the Hot Team. Remember the Hot Team?
Yes.
And these were individuals that went out and helped the homeless.
They
right?
did. That's right.
They had a safe harbor for those people. If they spotted somebody homeless, to bring them in, maybe give them a meal or made sure that they weren't out on that street. Maybe they were frightened, or like I said, some people could have mental disability or physical disability or whatever, and that Hot Team took care of them. And of course, you have to hire people for that. And that was a grant we got for years, right?
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Yeah. At some point, it was decided by some entity in Hartford, I'm thinking that it could have been the commissioner of the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, but don't quote me on that because I don't know if that was where it started. But the budget was shifted around, and so rather than have it concentrated in one program, a decision was made to split that grant up so that multiple agencies could have access to that money. And so that's what's happening now, actually.
Right.
The grant was put up for bids, and so there's several other agencies around in the area. So the service is still there.
Right.
It's just sort of divided up amongst different agencies right now.
And that was unfortunate, that people, because of the grant and so forth and so on. I know it was spread out on that, but it was just taken care of. And we've seen an uptick in people walking the street.
Yes.
That's
like statewide. Really.
Yeah, statewide. So it's out there, and we have to take care of our fellow brothers and sisters. And we at Bridge House, which is a great area that we help. We get a lot of referrals. They come down, and they come down to our open houses on a Wednesday. They come down, they go through the house. It gives them purpose too.
Yeah.
And I think that's we're not technically a spiritual house or whatever, but we don't push any religion or anything on people. But I think they could see the love, and that's what God is love. So they could see that, and they could feel that. I think that's the most important thing. They could feel the love when they come there, that we care for them and their needs.
Yes, and some of them actually come in already being Christians, believers. And I've had the experience where a member has, can you pray for me? I'm really going through a hard time right now. Can you pray for me? And because we're funded by the state, we're not supposed to overly demonstrate any kind of particular faith. um, say, okay, let's go out to the back, next to the van or something, let's go somewhere private, out on the porch on the second floor or somewhere where we have a private spot, and I've prayed with them, or they'll call,
Right.
over the phone. I've had that experience too. And it's really done people a lot of good, those who have asked.
Right.
We actually have one former member. She was there years ago. I want to say, oh my gosh. I've been at Bridge House 19 years, and maybe I was 2 or 3 years in. And there was a member who came through there who was really down on her luck, and she was homeless. But she was able to find housing, and she started attending a church. And today she's an ordained minister. She's an ordained clergy person.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. There are success stories.
Oh, yes. And I think they just need to know that there's other people out there in the same predicament,
Yes.
same boat. I think it's feeling alone. I really think a lot of that is when you're going through a lot of hard times, you think you're the only one going through, and you get into your shell. Your shell kind of goes around you, and then you get deep into that, and you feel that you're the only one. You're isolated, and that's a big part of Bridge House too. Is when they come in and they work. It's a work order day, and they come in with purpose. They come in, they might help out on breakfast or the snack bar or whatever. And the big key is you can't come in only on occasions if somebody has to leave right away. But we want you to come in, and you can't really. We don't do to-go meals technically during lunchtime. We want you to sit down, socialize. See, that's that socialism. That togetherness, that love, share some thoughts, share some stories with people they might have going through the same thing, and that's what is so special, I think, about Bridge House, is because you're able to share with other members who have maybe going through the same thing you are, and I think that piece is great about Bridge House, and it gets you out so you're not isolated, because that's a big thing when you're isolated. Because I'll ask some members, so when they're leaving, I said, so where you going? He says, we're going home. He says, oh, what are you going to do? But the afternoon, but they come in the morning. Maybe morning time is hard for them. It could be some people, the afternoon is tough for them. They could get up in the morning, have breakfast, have some fun and whatever they do. Maybe they watch a program or whatever. But then there's maybe that afternoon that they kind of isolate, and then things start creeping in on them, maybe their minds, and start thinking about things. I've had members say, I can't stay home, I have to come in, and we give them that place to kind of, if they have to vent, if some people just keeping busy is what they need, encouragement. Maybe they want a part-time job. We look for them to get a part-time job so they can feel I'm making a few dollars, and I feel, wow, I can go. We clean gyms, or we try to get office positions, or clerical, but mostly we find like restaurant jobs, working, just doing all around type work, and that is a big piece to a person's psyche or feeling good about themselves. But they see that, and they'll come back and they'll say, if it wasn't for Bridge House, if it wasn't for this particular staff member who got, this is really what it's all about, is that piece. We're supposed to show and be the love of Jesus to our members. And that's the way I look at it when I go there. I love coming into work and seeing our members waiting for the door to open up. They're so cute. They sit out on the bench out there. And I look at it as they could be my brothers and sisters. They are anyways. But I mean, it could be my family members. It could be anybody. in my life, sitting out there waiting to go in to have a hot breakfast, getting in off the cold or getting out of the heat into the air conditioning. So when I first see them, I say hello to every one of them, and they each have a gift to give to me. Every one of them that comes through that house, even the ones that are kind of weigh on your patience a little bit, they still have a gift to give you.
They do.
And this is our job, and this is why I talked about us opening our mouth and by deeds helping these people, helping the people that can't help themselves or can't express what they need or shy or whatever. We give them something to grasp and maybe pull them up and get them, feeling good about themselves. And then once you feel good about yourself, it spreads. Once you feel happy and you feel loved, you want to spread it. It just comes natural. You're just it's like you're spreading it to the world, and that's what we have to do. So I really want to thank everybody again for tuning in to Armor On. I know we're trying hard to make this world a better place. We try to give you some tools and some knowledge so you could fight the devil off, because devil's the biggest bully out there. Trust me, he's the biggest bully.
Yes,
and he'll try to drag you down. So we thank you for watching, and God bless, and we'll see you next time on Armor On. Thank you, Wim, again.
You're very welcome.
God bless, and we'll see you next time on Armor On.